Well, hello, boys and girls, and welcome to Movie Goodness, where we examine life through cinema here on the KB Radio Network. And this is the best of 2022. We're going to list our best films as well as television shows from this past year, since we are coming to the end of 2022 and entering the year of our Lord 2023. Uh, I hope that everybody had a good year, a prosperous year, a successful year, whatever goals you set on January the 1st of 2022, that they were met. I really do. Because mine were. I didn't, not all of them, because I'm still poor. I don't have $1 million sitting in the bank, but everything else, uh, I've had a good year. You know, I kept a roof over my head all year, so that's good. I ate every day, so that was good too. And the lights, every time I hit the switch, the light switch, the lights miraculously came on. So it's a lot to be grateful for. So it was a good year for me, and I was relatively healthy as well. But not everyone was so lucky. We're going to start off the show with the in memoriam portion of 2022. These are some of the stars uh, in stage and film and television that we lost in 2022. Starting off with a legend, Sidney Poitier. Sidney Poitier passed away this year at the age of 94. Uh, Also, we lost Kirstie Alley, who's most notably known for her role on Cheers. She was also the star of the Look Who's Talking films. She passed away this year at the age of 71. Over on Sesame Street, we lost two mainstays on Sesame Street, and we all grew up with Sesame Street, and we know these people. Oh, Bob McGraw, he passed away this year at the age of 90. And also Emilio Diego, uh, lost him this year as well from Sesame Street. He was 81. Twitch, most notably known for being the DJ on the Ellen Show. He passed away this year at the ripe young age of 40. Gallagher, the comedian, who smashed the watermelons, uh, he passed away this year at the age of 76. One that's near and dear to my heart that hit me like a ton of bricks was none other than Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman in the animated series, as well as the Arkham games, uh, uh all the he was the voice of Batman, and he will be missed, man. I really, it really hit me hard when he passed away this year at the age of 66. Rapper Takeoff from the popular group The Migos, he passed away this year at the age of 28. Angela Lansbury, Murder She Wrote, she passed away this year at the ripe young age of 96. Wow. I remember watching her. My mom was a big fan of Murder She Wrote, and so I watched a few episodes with her growing up, and she was on a lot of other TV shows and movies throughout her career. Uh, Also, at the age of 96, we lost Queen Elizabeth II. She passed away this year. Uh, Rapper Coolio, Gangsta's Paradise. He passed away this year at the age of 59. Uh, Olivia Newton-John passed away this year at the age of 78. Uh, Basketball legend Bill Russell passed away this year at the age of 88. James Caan passed away at the age of 82. Ray Liotta, all know from Goodfellas and so many other films, he passed away this year at the age of 67. For all of you wrestling fans out there, whether it was WWF or E or ECW, WCW, we all know Razor Ramon, say hello to the bad guy. Yeah, Scott Hall himself, he passed away this year at the age of 63. William Hurt, Oscar-winning actor, passed away this year at the age of 71. And Bob Saget, known for being the dad on Full House and the host of the first host of America's Funniest Home Videos. He passed away this year at the age of 65, and so many more. And I know so many of us have lost loved ones this year. I know a few people who passed away this year, uh, friends and family. So it was a tough year for all of us who lost loved ones. My thoughts and prayers are with you, and my thoughts and prayers are with all of these stars' families who they left behind. So that's the downer part of the show. Let's get into the best of the show. The best of 2022. Let's start off with television. And I didn't rank these. I didn't put these in an order like I did for the films, but these are shows of note. 10 shows that this year just were top notch to me. And there were more than 10. I just settled with 10 because it would take up half the show going through all the great television that came out this year. There were some tough cuts from this list, but like I said, I'm gonna list them, but they're in no particular order. Let's start off first with Andor, which is on Disney Plus. Andor season 1 was great, and it started off slow. It started off real slow. It started off slow to the point where I stopped watching it. I stopped watching it on, I think, the third episode, and I kept reading reviews on it, and everybody was like, "Oh, it picks up after the third episode." I'm like, "Well, of course it did." That's where I stopped. And so I waited a few weeks until I could binge them. I didn't want to do the week to week with it. I'm spoiled. I'm spoiled with the binging. So waiting week to week is really brutal. But it played better that way. After the third episode, the fourth through the eighth episode, I think. I think it was 8 episodes. Either way, they were amazing. And to say this was a Star Wars show with no lightsabers and no pew pew and no no battles in space and no Skywalkers, no Siths, no whatever you could think of associated with Star Wars. It wasn't with this show, but it was still Star Wars, and it was well directed, well acted, and well put together. And I really enjoyed season 1 of Andor when it was all said and done. House of the Dragon season 1. Game of Thrones, that last season, I think we all can agree, left a bad taste in everybody's mouth who's a fan of that show. So to revisit this world and really go back, this being a prequel to Game of Thrones, I was kind of skeptical with it, to be 100% honest with you, but man, it was a return to form with Game of Thrones. House of the Dragon was excellent. I enjoyed every episode of season 1. Can't wait for season 2. Wednesday on Netflix, a surprise. What a fun show. Jenna Ortega, one of the breakout stars of this year. What a show. Tim Burton returning back to the old Tim Burton that we all know and love. I mean, this was a great show. Enjoyed every episode. Flew right through it. Netflix hadn't announced the season 2 yet. I don't know why, because it's like the highest rated show on the network since they released it. So I'm pretty sure a season 2 will be coming soon, and I will be there for it because season 1 was excellent. Also on Netflix, they had another one, which is kind of a shock because season 3 kind of wasn't, I ain't gonna say it wasn't good, but it wasn't as good as the first season, and that was Stranger Things season 4. This was probably the best season of Stranger Things. I know it was long. Every episode was like 90 minutes. Every episode was like a movie, but I was in. My family was in. We were gathered around the TV, just all in on this show and enjoyed every single episode. Can't wait for season 5, which will be the final season of Stranger Things. But man, what a way to set up season 5. This was amazing, and I enjoyed it immensely. I also enjoyed Severance, which is on Apple TV Plus. Didn't see this coming from Ben Stiller. Ben Stiller directed the majority of these episodes. This was a real good show. A shocking show. I thought it was going to be one thing, but it was something else. I thought it was going to be like a comedy, being as though Ben Stiller's involved in all this here, but it had its comedy moments, but it was a real serious show, and it really shed a light on the workplace, and I really was impressed with that show. The acting with Adam Scott, John Turturro, Christopher Walken, everybody involved with the show. It was great. Um, Reacher, season 1, Reacher over on Prime Video. I'm a fan of that property as well. I loved the first Jack Reacher film, which starred Tom Cruise. Didn't like the second one, but I loved the first one. And I love that character. And this show was a more accurate depiction of that character from the books, from the Lee Child books. And this was real good. Excited for what comes next from this. Once again, binged it when it first came out. I think 2 days, me and my wife went right through it. We enjoyed this show immensely. Over on Paramount Plus was another show that was pretty awesome, and it was The Offer. And this really was timely for me because I had just watched The Godfather for the very first time. And man, what can I say? This was a great show. Miles Teller doing God's work here. I mean, he was awesome on here. Juno Temple was awesome. Matthew Good as Bob Evans. Why he didn't get nominated out the yin yang for his performance in this show, the world may never know. What a performance. It is criminal he didn't get any Emmy nominations or anything of that sort. What a performance. It was one of the best performances, period, of the year, whether it was television or film, period. I loved this show. Miss Marvel season 1 on Disney Plus. One of the best things to come out of phase 4 at Marvel. I enjoyed Miss Marvel so much. It was so fun. Learned so much. We got a breakout star with Aman Venati. What a show. And did it have some misses in there? Yeah. It was kind of hit and miss, but I was engaged, and I thought it was fun, a new world, to experience a new world, going in depth with the Muslim community. I thought that was very enlightening. I learned a lot from it, and I grew an appreciation for certain aspects of the Muslim community. I never was a downer. I wanted to come off as that, but I grew a greater appreciation. I'll say that, and it was a great show. It helped move the MCU along as well. White Lotus season 2. One of the best things. If I was ranking it, this would probably be 1 or 2. This how good it was. I didn't watch season 1 of the White Lotus. I still haven't watched season 1, but I plan to go back and watch season 1. I got into season 2. My wife started watching it, and I came in like midway through the first episode, and I was kind of hooked. I was like, okay, I'll sit down and watch it with her, and we end up blazing through the first season. I mean the second season, and I was all in. It was so good. Funny and uh I love when you can get a mixture of all genres. You know what I'm saying? Like comedy, drama, thriller, all wrapped up in one, and it not overtake the other. You know, it was a perfect balance of all. And the White Lotus season 2 definitely was that. So yeah, one of the best things on television. And another surprise was Reboot, which is on Hulu season 1. Funny show. If you were into 90s sitcoms, this was the show for you. Because this was like a behind the scenes making of a reboot of a 90s sitcom, if that makes sense. And it was so well done, so funny. Keegan Michael Key, Johnny Knoxville, Paul Reiser. It was so many people who were just hilarious on this show. I laughed every episode. I was hurt when the season ended, and I'm still waiting on an announcement for season 2 because I think it was a gem of a show. So those are the 10 my 10 favorite shows of this season. I mean of this year rather. And there were so many more, man. I mean, I could have the only reason I didn't put Tulsa King in there because the season's still going. We got more episodes, but so far I'm loving the Tulsa King with Sylvester Stallone. I'm Peacemaker was good. There was another one that was on my mind, but I forgot. But anyways, it was a lot of good television. Oh, Fleischman's in Trouble. Uh, that is an awesome show. Only reason I ain't put it on here because once again, it's still going on. It's we still have episodes to go, but yeah, it's been some good television this year on the small screen. Now, before we get into our films, there were some things that happened this year that were kind of monumental. You know, these big epic storylines that went on in 2022 that just it was foolishness, but it was just funny at the same time. Funny sad, not funny ha, funny sad. And it started off this year with Will Smith. And you know, Will Smith with the infamous slap heard around the world when he went on stage on live television, went on stage and slapped comedian Chris Rock and proceeded to curse him out, which led to him being suspended from the Academy Awards for I don't know how long, but yeah, it looked bad for Will Smith, and it still does. I think people still haven't gotten over that, and me personally, I've moved on from it. It's over and done with, but yeah, that's sticking with people, and you know, I'm not going to say he don't deserve the slings and arrows, but at some point, it's time to put down the slings and and bows and just let the man go. You know, Chris Rock has. You haven't heard a peep out of Chris Rock, but but we all, you know, the court of public opinion is still deliberating. Kanye West in his epic meltdown, which led to him losing millions of dollars this year because he didn't know how to shut up. Him with his uh anti-Semitic remarks and you know him getting a divorce from his wife and you know he just going through a meltdown, man. His fall from grace is the things of legend, man. I really feel bad because I was a fan of Kanye West, his music. I really enjoyed his music, and you know I kind of been checked out on him. I checked out on him years ago when he came with that slavery is a choice thing. That was the end of it for me. But everybody was still hanging on to him for some strange reason until he started talking about the Jewish community, and then you know, you know that's a no. But you could talk about blacks, but we're not getting into that. Anywho's, yeah, that was an epic meltdown this year, which probably is probably the end of his career. At least is on is hibernating right now. Um, Elon Musk buys Twitter and everybody loses their mind. I don't understand why. Now, don't correct me if I'm wrong. Who cares? who really cares? I'm on Twitter. The only reason I'm on Twitter is because of this show, and that's to promote this show. Other than that, who cares? It's Twitter. Everybody making a big deal of it. Now, as of late, Elon Musk has claimed that he's going to step down as CEO of Twitter, but we'll see. We'll see. I doubt it, but whatever the case may be. But who cares? Now, he has done some stupid stuff while he has been over Twitter, banning some journalists that didn't align with his views or whatever the case may be, taking suspensions off of controversial figures that were suspended from Twitter because of their stupid statements. He lifted the bans on those people, namely 45, Trump, and something else he did that was stupid. I can't think of it, but who cares? Honestly, who cares? The court case that had the world at the edge of their seats, and it was Johnny Depp versus his ex-wife Amber Heard in that defamation lawsuit. Another who cares moment in 2022. I mean, who really cared about that? But that was a big thing in pop culture, in the news cycle, because every day I'm coming home from work and I'm seeing this on my television. And this court case. Who cares? They both are idiots, though. That's what really gets me. It's like they both are idiots. And so why are we sitting here gawking over this lawsuit that doesn't hold any weight for nobody? None of this affects anybody other than Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Johnny Depp went on to win it. But once again, who cares? But the big thing this year that kind of shocked me, and for a number of reasons, and that was the midterm elections. I thought the midterm elections this year would be different. I really did. I thought it was going to swing the other way because of the Democrats basically not doing nothing for the past 2 years. They've done nothing, and I can't defend it. Now, I'm not a Democrat, so it doesn't hold any weight to me, but I'm not a Republican either. But that's neither here nor there. I'm a registered independent, but they've done nothing, man. And with all of the hatred and all of the upcry from the left or the right, whatever they are. I think they're the right. From the right, especially after January the 6th thing and Trump announcing he's running again in 2024 and all this stuff. And so you're thinking like, okay, the Republicans, they're about to overtake the Senate again, and it's about to be helter-skelter. No, it didn't happen. Democrats kept power in the Senate, and I guess we're going to get 2 more years of nothing. So we'll see what happens. But that was a shock for me because I was honestly anticipating the Republicans taking back power in the Senate. But hey, it's politics. You can never predict it. And I sure didn't predict that. Anyways, now what we all came here to hear. This is the best 10 films of 2022. And this was a tough list. This was a challenging list for me. I revised this list at least 20 times. This was a hard list to put together. And that's a good thing. And the reason it's a good thing because it signals that this was a good year in film. They had well over 25 good movies this year. I mean, just like you can consider the best, one of the best films of the year. You know, uh, aside from that, there were some real good movies. Nothing I would consider best of the year, but as far as being considered one of the best, there were a lot. And to really whittle that down to 10 was tough, to the point I think I took about 5, 6 years off of my life worrying stressing over this list. But I'm happy with this list. I'm happy with what I settled on, and I think this lineup is where they need to be. And before we get to the 10, I got have some honorable mentions. Like I said, there were so many good films. I gotta at least mention a few of them that almost made the list, or at one point during my uh revising of the list were in the top 10 at one point or another. First honorable mention goes to Jordan Peele's Nope. Nope was an excellent quasi horror science fiction film that uh I mean, it was a Jordan Peele film. It was nothing to set the world on fire, but it was well made, well crafted, had a message like in every other Jordan Peele film that was poignant, that really shined a mirror on, I guess you could say, Hollywood. you know, and I enjoyed it so much. I seen it twice, and it was fun to watch it the second time because you pick up on some things that you probably didn't catch in the first viewing that would help you with the story. And I enjoyed it so much. Another honorable mention goes to The Black Phone, one of the best horror films of this year. It was Scott Derrickson's kind of uh his return to his roots as a horror director, coming off of Doctor Strange, the first Doctor Strange. He was scheduled to direct the second Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, but he left because of creative differences and picked up this project, and the world was better for it. Not the MCU, because I think they're kicking themselves for that decision. But The Black Phone was excellent. Very good. Very, very good. It reminded me of an old Stephen King tale, even though Stephen King had nothing to do with this, but it just had those vibes, and I enjoyed it. Also, Intergalactic, which is a film that's on Netflix that I didn't even know anything about. I found it one night. I was trying to find something to just have on in the background to help me go to sleep. So I clicked on this. It was a animated film. Uh, I I end up staying up all night watching it. Bright eyed and bushy tailed. I was completely engaged with this movie. This was the best love story I've seen all year. Uh, Real good movie. I don't know why I didn't know about it. I don't know how this slipped through the cracks for me, but I'm glad I found it. It was on it at one point. It was on the list, and I was actually fighting within myself trying to get this in the top 10, but I ultimately I couldn't. But it deserves recognition, and Intergalactic is one of the best films of this year. Elvis almost made the cut, didn't quite make the cut. Austin Butler did an excellent job portraying Elvis Presley in this film. I wanted a little bit more from this movie, as far as the story of Elvis, with some of the stuff that did happen. It was kind of, the bubblegum telling of Elvis story, because if you really know the Elvis story, there's some dark times in here. And I wanted to really get a movie that was going to touch in on that, and it didn't. But besides all that, it was still well made, real good. And Tom Hanks was good, but this is one of the rare Tom Hanks performances where, and I say rare, like the only Tom Hanks performance where he was all right. He really wasn't all that. I think he was miscast, to be honest with you. He was miscast in this role, but he still did a okay job. It just it didn't fit the movie to me, but the movie was still good. It is one of the best films of the year, honestly. Uh, Another honorable mention is Bullet Train, probably one of the best action movies of the year. Um, Enjoyed it, man. As a pure popcorn soda sipping movie, this is what you wanted, man. Especially in the middle of summer when it came out. This is a summer blockbuster film, and this is what you ran to the theater to go see. Uh, I was I was just a kid in the candy store with this movie. It was fun. Brad Pitt, uh, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Brian Tyree Henry, Zazie Beetz. Man, I'm blanking on that, but there was so many people in here. Joey King, Michael Shannon. The list goes on and on. It was so many. Sandra Bullock. Let me shut up because there was so many people that did an excellent job in this movie. Real good action, real funny, and I like the way the story was told. Uh, yeah, one of the best action films of the year and one of the best movies of the year. The last honorable mention is a shocker, and I just like I was fighting to put Intergalactic on the list. I really, really, really wanted to put this movie in the top 10. I mean, hard. At one point, I had flexed it around. It was like in the top 3. But, you know, I had to be honest with myself and with all of you. So I had to take it off the list. But it deserves an honorable mention. And it is Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, which is on Disney Plus. People, I know it sounds crazy, but it was good. It was so good. It was funny. It told a real good story. It wasn't silly funny, to say that it was a Chip and Dale movie. Uh, but it was a live action animation mix, and I really enjoyed this movie. I don't know why. I don't know why. I've seen it twice, and I enjoyed it. I really did. It really was a breath of fresh air to watch this movie, and it deserves an honorable mention. So those are the honorable mentions. Those that just couldn't quite crack the top 10. So what did crack the top 10? Let's start off with our 10th film, our 10th best film of 2022, and that is The Banshees of Inisherin. Pretty sure I said that last word wrong, but it's it's good. I'll just say The Banshees. What a film! What a film! What a film! This film reteams Colin Farrell and Brandon Gleeson with their director Martin McDowell, and they all worked on In Bruges from a few years ago, which was excellent. And they reteamed for this film, and it was excellent as well. They need to just make movies together. That's what they need to do. A comedy yet tragic tale. This was a tragic. It's a movie that's so tragic you feel bad for laughing at points in the movie. Just like In Bruges was. And you know, I'm so amazed by Colin Farrell. Colin Farrell had 2 great performances this year, and this was one of them. This one here may get him the Academy Award. A great performance by him, also by Brandon Gleeson, as well as Carrie Condon, I believe her name is, who plays Colin Farrell's sister in here. Also by Barry Keoghan. He had a performance in here that oh my God, it will break your heart. It will tear you apart. What a tragic. I mean, it was nothing but tragedy throughout this film, and it was funny. But this is probably my one little artsy fartsy film that's on the list, but it deserves to be on the list at number 10. Coming in at number 9 as the ninth best film of the year is a film that should get a lot of recognition in awards time, but it probably won't because of his star. And that is Will Smith, who stars in Emancipation. Emancipation is number 9 on this list, and you can make an argument for it being higher, but it is a great film and is a great performance by Will Smith, who sadly won't get nominated because of the slap. He won't get nominated, but this is his best performance I've ever seen. This is the best Will Smith performance I've ever seen. Well-made movie. If you listen to this show long enough, you know that I'm not a huge fan of slavery films, but this is a slavery film done differently. And the reason I'm not a fan of slavery films, because they're all the same. You know, I don't want to see black folks being enslaved over and over. And is the white slave savior coming to save the black guy? You know, like in 12 Years a Slave and stuff like that, or Django Unchained. You know, you had that one good white character that just saves the day. you you know, people won't mention that, but it's the truth. If you go back and watch all those slavery films, there's that one good white guy or woman who comes and saves the day. And I got tired of seeing that. I really have. Not that they were bad movies. They just over and over again. It's the same formula. This didn't have that. Actually, I don't even think it was a good white person in this movie. it was just like, I mean, it is what it is. This was what it is. Oh man, Antoine Fuqua did an excellent job directing this film. He's one of my favorite directors. He directed Training Day. He directed the Equalizer films, Tears of the Sun, a very underrated film with Bruce Willis. He directed the mess out of this movie, and man, it deserves recognition, and it lands at number 9 on my list. Coming in at number 8 as the 8th best film of the year is a shocker. This is probably the biggest shock on my list, and it is Barbarian, a film that came out of nowhere for me. I didn't go to the theater to see this. It came on HBO Max, and I decided to check it out. I wanted to see what all the hoopla was about. What a movie. Oh my God. This is the only film on this list where after I finished watching it, I knew without a shadow of a doubt it was going to be my favorite, one of the 10 best films of the year. I knew it was going to make the list. And lo and behold, it did. What a movie. If you think it's your standard horror film, you're wrong. You're in for a shock if you haven't seen Barbarian. It flips everything on its head. You think it's going one way and it goes another. You think the hero is this person and it's not. You know, you think it's going to end right here, but it doesn't. But it's done so well. What a film. What a film. Barbarian is the 8th best film of 2022. Coming in at number 7, you might say is a shock, but it wasn't for me. I really enjoyed it, and it is the prequel to Predator, Prey. Good movie. My only regret is that Disney and 20th Century Studios did not release this in theaters. They dumped it on Hulu. It deserved to be in the theater. What a film. Amber Midthunder is a revelation. Carried this movie all by her lonesome and did an excellent job. Great return to form in this franchise after we've seen dud after dud after dud from the Predator films. We haven't had a real good Predator film since Predator. You know, since Arnold Schwarzenegger and all that testosterone was all over the screen in the 80s. we haven't seen a good one. You can make a case for Predator 2. It was good, but all after that, nah, they were bad, especially the Alien versus Predator films. They were horrible. And this franchise was dead. Especially after The Predator from Sean Black, it was dead. And this film shot life into the franchise to the point we're ready for a sequel or another Predator film. Give it to Give it to me. I'm all in. Prey lands at number 7. Coming in at number 6, this is a product of watching the film and giving yourself time to breathe. Because if I would have made this list up after I left the theater watching this film, it would be at number 1. It was at number 1. I enjoyed it that much. I loved it that much. If you listen to my review of this film, you know I love it that much. Nothing has changed, like, like I feel like, oh, it's a bad movie. No, nothing has changed. It's still great. But given time and let myself think about it more, I had to bump it down because I know I'm not going to have the same enjoyment I had like I did the first time I watched it. Like if I have to watch it at home on TV, I would not have the same enjoyment for this film. And that is Avatar: The Way of Water, coming in at number 6. It falls at number 6 because I know once it comes on television, it's not going to have that same pop. I was all into it in the theater because of the visual effects, because of the 3D, seeing it on IMAX and being just completely immersed in that film, feeling like you was a part of that film. But the story is a story we've seen before, so it's nothing to be like, oh my god, this is so original. I mean, the effects are original, the way the story is told in an original way, but the story has been told before. But it still doesn't take away from the fact they told it well. It may be I mean, if you really get to the nuts and bolts of it, every story in film and television has been told multiple times. It's just how you present it. And this was presented in a unique way, and I really did enjoy it. So James Cameron, I can never bet against him. He has never led me wrong, and he certainly didn't with Avatar: The Way of Water, the 6th best film of 2022. Now we creep into the top 5 of the year, and coming in at number 5 is a gem, and that is Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery. Boy, I love this movie. This was so good. This was so good on so many levels. One, because I enjoyed the first Knives Out, and uh, you know, if you listen to the show, I'm a huge murder mystery guy. I'm a huge ensemble cast guy, and Knives Out was everything for me. So to go back into this world with Daniel Craig reprising his role as Benoit Blanc, I with a new cast and a new mystery to solve, okay, let's go. And now it's on Netflix instead of in the theaters. It did have a theatrical run, but I didn't get a chance to see it at the theater, so I had to wait to see it on Netflix. And look, I watched it twice. I know it just came out a week ago. I watched it twice in the same day, actually. And I enjoyed it. Ready to see it a third time. It is a great film. And it's not so much for Daniel Craig, who was excellent, not so much for Edward Norton, who was excellent. It was for Janelle Monáe, who stole the movie. What a performance. And nobody's talking about it. What a performance by Janelle Monáe. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I don't know what else to say. Love the film. Can't wait to see more from this franchise. They're already working on a third film, and I can't wait. Glass Onion, A Knives Out Mystery, lands at number 5. Coming in at the fourth spot for the fourth best film of the year is a movie that if you would have asked what would be the best film from telling a, a story about African women warriors, I in January I would have said, "Oh man, that's going to be Black Panther: Wakanda Forever." Unfortunately, that didn't make the list. No, it was The Woman King. And bruh, you want to talk about a film that I love this story. I love seeing all these actresses just give us black girl magic like they like their life depended on it. What a film. What a film. Uh Great cast, led by Viola Davis and uh Lashana Lynch and so many more. John Boyega is in this film. It was so good. Uh I can't think of the director's name right now. It on the tip of my tongue, but she did an excellent job. She directed The Old Guard, which was good, but she directed this film as well. What a movie. What a movie. Uh these were some of the fiercest warriors I've seen on screen. Those women weren't to be messed with, and I was all in. Uh, but it was so emotional as well. The story they told was so poignant, and this is based on a true story. And so, great film. I'm glad it's getting recognition around awards time. Not getting enough, but it's getting some, and it deserves it all. The Woman King lands at number 4. Uh, the third best film of 2022. Once again, if you would have asked me what would be the best multiverse film of 2022 at the start of the year, I would have said, "Oh, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness." I would have been wrong. Once again, did not make the list. But what did make the list, and not only made the list, but made it to the top 3, coming in at the third best film of 2022, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Oh my God, what a movie. And to say this is a family film, and I mean family film as far as it's based on a family, it's set around a family with Michelle Yeoh, uh, oh my God, Short Round. I can't think of his real name, and I'm sorry, but I know him as Short Round from the Indiana Jones film. Uh, and Stephanie Hughes, if I'm saying her name right. I know her from the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, but she's in this film and she stole the movie almost. And uh, what a movie! What a movie! You could easily get confused by this movie, but I wasn't. This is one of the movies I could get confused by, and I didn't. I was able to follow everything that was going on. But while all this craziness was going on, we're getting this family story, this story about this marriage that's on the rocks, and this disconnect between a mother and a daughter, and the mother trying to cling on to her daughter and not let her go, and her daughter wanting to grow, spread her wings and all this. I mean, so much was going on in the midst of all this craziness with hot dog fingers and eyes at the center of your head. It fighting and all this stuff. It was just I just never thought the film was going to be like that. I did not think it was going to be like that, and you even got emotional at points. It was well done film, and everything everywhere all at once lands at number 3. Great film. Coming in at number 2 is probably going to be controversial, and it's probably going to be controversial for some people who's going to sit there and say, "Oh, you're being biased. You just love that character so much." But no, that's not why. It's at number 2 because it's the second best film of the year, and that is none other than The Batman. I, look, man, this film came out way early in the year, in March, just like Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think that came out around March or April somewhere. But the Batman came out in March, and it held my love all the way through the year. I've seen it multiple times. I actually, at one point, I took it off the list just to have fun with it, you know, just to put these other films on here. But uh, none of these films were better than, well, with the exception of one other, of course, but nothing else, in my opinion, were was better than the Batman. If you're a true Batman fan, I don't understand how you did not like this movie. I've talked to multiple people, and I mean, a few people did not like this movie. And I scratch my head because these are people who I discuss Batman with, who I discuss comic books with. And I thought they knew what they were talking about until this movie came out and their true colors emerged. This was an excellent Batman film. When this film was first announced and we got the announcement of Robert Pattinson being cast as Bruce Wayne, I was like, wait, the dude from Twilight? Uh, the glowing, sparkling vampire is going to be Batman. Okay. And he's built like a number two pencil. I was like, oh, I don't see how this is going to work. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. He was excellent. Matt Reeves did an excellent job building this world. Uh, when you watch Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy, as much as they're exciting and uh, great films in their own right, you know, Gotham wasn't a character in those films. Gotham really looked like a city me and you can live. It looked like Chicago, you know, if even though it was filmed in Chicago, but it looked like Chicago, you know. But Gotham City in this film felt like a character. It was a living, breathing organism. It felt like this outer world place. And that's what Gotham City is, you know? And for that to be a character, the dynamic between Batman and Commissioner Gordon, played by uh, Jeffrey Wright, was excellent. Colin Farrell, yet again, popping up on the list again, with his performance as Oswald Cobblepot, amazing. Amazing. If you didn't know that was Colin Farrell under that makeup, if I didn't tell you that, you wouldn't have believed it. He was that good. Uh, 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 Zoe Kravitz as Selena Kyle, great. John Turturro, great. I mean, everybody was perfectly cast in this film. Paul Dano as the Riddler, great. I'm, it's just no complaints from this side of the microphone. Perfectly depicted tale of Batman. We really got a detective story, which is what the comics is based on. You know, it's Batman is a detective, you know, and that's, yeah, you get your fights in there, but it was a detective story, and this felt more like the animated series. And the animated series is really ripped from the pages of the comics, so it was uh, probably the most accurate depiction of the Batman, and it lands at number two. Well, I think we all can guess what the best film of 2022 is. It's a no-brainer. It's probably the, well, ain't no probably. It's the most successful film at the box office this year. It was almost released on Paramount Plus until the star of the film put up a fight to have it released in theaters because this was a theatrical experience, and he was 100% correct. Coming in at number one, the best film of 2022 is a no-brainer, Top Gun Maverick. What a movie. taking the nostalgia out of the equation, taking Tom Cruise, the biggest movie star in the world, out the equation. This was a beautiful story. This was a great story, a great sequel to a almost 40-year-old film. Uh the action was great. Little use of CGI. It was mostly practical. Those actors were really in those fighter jets. Uh but besides that, and that don't come till the third act. You take that away, the training, the storyline between Maverick and Rooster, who is the son of Goose, his old wingman, his best friend, was powerful. The love story between Maverick and Jennifer Connelly's character name was great. Uh Everything leading up to Maverick still just being the rebellious soul that he was in the first film. Uh for Tom Cruise to go back and channel that after all these years and be consistent with it, kudos, man. Hands down, one of his best performances. The scene with Tom Cruise and Val Kilmer tore me up. It was so good. For Val Kilmer, who in real life is battling throat cancer or have battled throat cancer, and his ability to speak is limited. And for him to emote and really go toe to toe with Tom Cruise without speaking was just so phenomenal, man. And for them to have that touching moment uh with Iceman asking him, who's the best pilot, still asking him that from the first movie, and Tom Cruise to say, this is a touching moment, don't ruin it. It was so good. Oh my God. And of course the action at the end with the jets going through the mountains on their mission. Phenomenal film. It deserves number one, and it is number one best film of 2022. So that's my list. To recap, coming in at number 10 was the Banshees of Inisherin. Coming in at number 9 was Emancipation. At number 8, Barbarian. At number 7, Prey. At number 6, Avatar, The Way of Water. At number 5, Glass Onion, A Knives Out Mystery. Coming in at number 4, The Woman King. Coming in at number 3, Everything Everywhere All at Once. At number 2, The Batman. And at number 1, best film of 2022, Top Gun Maverick. Oh man, that's the list. That's the best films to come out this past year. Can't wait for next year because we have a big slate next year. Let's see what comes out next year. Prayerfully, we'll make it through another year, just like we made it through this one. But I'd love to know, what were your best films? What was your favorite film from the year 2022? You can let me know by emailing the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. Also, look me up on Twitter at KB Radio Network, and on the other social media platforms, just look up the KB Radio Network. Don't forget about the 5 stars and reviews. It helps the show out tremendously if you're listening on Apple Podcasts. And if you're listening on Spotify and other listening platforms, don't forget about sharing the show, letting everybody know that you're listening to movie goodness here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me. Thank you for following me through this year. I'm so happy and grateful for all of you who continue to support this show. And it's been a fun ride this year. I recorded more episodes this year than I had in the previous year. Why? I don't know. But I enjoy talking to y'all so much, really, honestly. I do. I enjoy sitting behind this microphone and discussing movies with all of you because I love you all. And this was a fun year. I can't wait for next year. I hope everybody has a fun and safe New Year's. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, which isn't much. but have fun this new year so we can talk on the other side and continue to discuss movies, to talk topics, current events, and everything else, and have some fun over here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, from the bottom of my heart, I want you all to know I love you. Continue to love one another. And until we speak next year in 2023, you all be blessed.